And you have heard us time and time again. Maybe Ashley hasn't, but we've been calling this the Year of the Woman in motorsports, and it definitely is. And you're one of the key contributors, Ashley Force, who has got some time out, though she still has the fire suit on and ready to answer the call the minute they should get that track guy. But it has been not just for you, but for Melanie. When you see this happening for other women, what does that do for you?
It's exciting. You know, it gives all of us confidence to show these aren't fluke wins that the gals are having, that, you know, we have competitive teams, we're doing right in the driver's seat, and our teams are giving us good cars that we can compete right out there with the boys and, you know, be good at it. So I'm real proud of the other girls. I'm proud to be here in a year when the girls are doing great, and also that the people around us are happy to have us there. Our male competitors, you know, they're proud of us. They don't want us to win, but they're happy for us.
Well, Ashley, I mean, your team is giving you such a consistent race car, and that first win in Atlanta was a great win, but how long did it actually take to sink in after you won that race? Because remember, it was a drawn-out affair with the rain and everything that day.
It was. You know, it took about 3 days, truthfully. I was so tired and exhausted at the end of that night. It wasn't until I got home to California I was able to get a good night's sleep, and I remember waking up, I think it was Wednesday morning or Thursday morning, and just with a smile on my face, I can't believe we finally did it. It really happened. It wasn't a dream, and, you know, it was a great week and a crazy and exhausting week, but well worth it to get that trophy in the end.
And then last week, your dad finally gets his win. What'd that do for the team? What'd it do for the family?
It was funny that it happened that weekend, because at the beginning of the weekend he actually had a team meeting on Saturday morning, and we only usually have them Sundays, but he brought the whole camp in and he really motivated us. And, you know, they've had their ups and downs just like all of us. If anything, they've struggled more, and yet his motivational talk actually helped his team out the best, that they were able to kind of get all those kinks worked out, and they had a great car all weekend, and it showed when they ended up in the winner's circle.
And then this weekend, you're looking good. Let me first ask your dad, is he back fully physical, or how do you read him?
You know, he always acts like he's perfectly fine. I'm sure that he struggles at times, and I can't imagine that you can't hurt, you know, at certain times with the injuries that he's had, but he never lets any of us know, so it's hard to even say. All I know, though, is he probably feels the best he can when he's in that funny car. That's when he has that rush and that adrenaline, and that's when he's happiest. So I'm proud of him, and, you know, it's been a tough, long road, but to get that win for him, it gave his whole team just, you know, that motivation and that heart back.
So he even hides it in the household.
Yeah, but, you know, as much as adrenaline rush that he gets, I know usually you're pretty cool and calm and collective, but, you know, right now you're sitting #1 position in qualifying. You made a great run with that 475. I mean, are you starting to feel, I mean, is it kind of sinking in? Because it'd be great if you could get that #1 spot.
It is. We're really excited. You know, our car is doing really well. I think even more exciting than the #1 is that we were able to run that speed last night on a Friday night qualifying, and then today to go down an 85 we ran. That matters even more, because Sunday conditions will probably be similar to today. So it just shows we have a good car. You know, if we can keep doing how we're doing, the ultimate goal is to go rounds and, you know, to win tomorrow. But even though we'd love to keep that #1, we'd really love to get another qualifying shot, not only for our team to improve and learn more, but to get our teammate Mike Neff in the show as well.
Now, was that pretty cool having Mark Oswald in the other lane when you did that?
It was. He's a great guy. I've gotten to know him in the past year, and, you know, it was really fun to kind of race someone who I watched for years growing up, and he's an awesome driver, and, you know, to go side by side with him, it was pretty fun.
Hold on, somebody's got to get that phone. I'll call you back.
It's my crew chief calling. Flipped on ESPN2 and he sees me on it. He's wondering.
When you think about it, you won on a delayed day at Atlanta, and Melanie, it went about 10:30 at night before she won. How do you guys handle that whole thing?
I think maybe there's a key to that. The females keep winning in these long, drawn-out days. Maybe girls do have more patience than the guys, you know, because we have to put up with the guys a lot of the time. But no, I think it's just a matter of having that patience, and, you know, it's part of the game, and we're all in the same boat. So whoever can withstand that and still be ready on their game to perform when it comes down to it, that's who will win.
Well, I'm sure you get a lot of young girls coming up to you, asking, you know, about your life and what it's like to do this. I mean, what kind of advice would you give to them, or do you give to them?
Yeah, we get tons of young fans, especially the female fans, and it's, you know, the best advice I can give them is if you know, in anything you want to do, you got to put in the time and not expect it to happen right away. Even though I'm in my sophomore season in Funny Car, I've been racing 7 years, so, you know, and I've grown up around racing, and it's a long process, but if it's something that you want and it's worth it to you, then it's worth that time and that journey to get there.
Well, Ashley, we want to show you something. It's a accumulation of John Force Racing this season and how everybody has done, how do you guys look at those different numbers? What do you want to happen? What has happened that surprised you?
Really, you know, at the end of the day, we want all of our teammates in that top 10 for the points chase. That's what every team works on for the whole entire year, to get into the NHRA, you know, Powerade points and to be able to fight that at the end of the year. I missed it last year, so we are ready to go, and we want to be there at the end of this season to get to compete in that. But you know, we're doing great. We learn from each other, and I'm glad that I'm in the mix of that and not, you know, not on there, because that wouldn't be good.
You got to get a 1 in that column for Mike Neff. How close is he to that, and what's he thinking?
He is very close, and you know, he's doing great. They're a new team, you know. John Medlin's a great crew chief, but when you put a new group together, it's going to take some time to kind of work those kinks out. But they work really well together. The group he's got, the Old Spice team, they're just a great group of guys, and they're so pumped up, and they want to get him his first win. And it's just a matter of time. You just got to be patient with this thing. I waited almost a year and a half to get my win, but it was worth it, and he knows that. He's won before with Gary Selzy, so we'll get him his win this year, I'm sure of it.
Well, you know, too, you have the most consistent race car out there, and that's why you have the most round wins, I believe, this year. But how's the team set up now? I mean, I know in past some teams, of your teams have used it more for research and development, and then you've transferred that over to other cars. I mean, I know you share all the information, but are all the teams running the same right now? I mean, as far as the same equipment, same tune-up?
My dad's team and my team, I think we run the most similar, because my crew chief, Dean Antonelli, he learned from Austin and Bernie. So I think of all the teams, we're the most similar. Jimmy Prock, he does his own thing. John Medlin does his own thing. At the end of the day, we all share information and help each other in any way we can. But, you know, every team's a little different. And even our two teams, Dad and mine, and anybody who has a race car knows, you can set them up identical, but they're not going to perform identical. And that's just, you know, the way of the game.
We talked about this a little bit earlier. You may remember that she was involved at this track in a fire, an enormous explosion as well, lifted the car off the ground. And I'm wondering what was going through your head as that's happening around you and you're engulfed in flame for the first time?
Well, things were going fine about there, and you know, and then suddenly I was screaming in my helmet and really wondering what the heck just happened. But thankfully, you know, I gathered my composure, what little I had, and got on my fire bottles and got my fuel off and my parachutes, and made it out of the car. But it was definitely, you know, the biggest explosion I've had. The sound was what I remember most intensely. It was the loudest sound I've ever had, and I don't think I've ever heard quite the same since.
Well, what do you think about your sisters now coming up through the ranks, both Brittany and Courtney? Courtney driving here this weekend in Top Alcohol Dragster. How are they reacting, and how are you reacting to it?
They are doing great, and you know, it's fun to have them out here and to be able to actually help them. I was in that car for 3 years. I loved my A-Field Dragster. I loved working with Jerry Darian and Ken Meadows, and to have them in that same spot, you know, they're really enjoying it. The people that drive in that category were so welcoming to me when I moved into that category, and they're the same with the girls. So they're really enjoying it. They're off school now. They finished the semester of college about a few weeks ago, so they're ready to go. They're just fighting over who gets to run each race. You know, they're switching off, but I'm sure come Indy they're really going to be battling it, because everyone wants to run Indy.
Well, I'm betting you've already figured this out, but in this, the year of the woman in motorsports, we're going to show you one more graphic. And look at that. If you stay #1 qualifier, you will become the first woman to do so on Funny Car. Another step, huh?
It is, you know, and that would be exciting. I'd love to be a part of that, because when it comes down to it, that means we got a really good car, and that means that maybe another win, and that's all we can ask for.
Well, and we hope you get there, but we do hope we can get some more qualifying in. We'll just find that out here shortly. Ashley Force, thanks for joining us.